Today, you will paint 6 more sections on your op art painting. We are still working with our lightest values or our tints. Make sure you have scrap paper underneath your painting. You can tape your painting in place so it doesn't move as you paint. Look at your value scale, and now we need to mix the tints that we will need. You will need white for number 1. You'll need your lightest tint for number 2, so a lot of white with just a little bit of your color. You'll need your medium tint, which we call number 3, so you'll need even amounts of white and color. And you will also need your darkest tint, which is a little bit of white with quite a bit of color, and that is what we call number 4. When you mix, remember you start with your white and you add small amounts of your hue until you get the correct value. Hold your brush with your paint that you're mixing over the value scale to see if the mixture is correct, or you can test it on a piece of scrap paper. Make sure each tint looks different than the tints on either side of it. Be sure to rinse your brush and dry it on a paper towel when you change your values. When you start painting, start with your lightest value and work to your darker values. So for this, we're starting with our white value first. We're using the tip of our small wooden paintbrush to outline the edge first. Remember, we are pulling the brush, don't push it. When we push our brush, it spreads out the bristles, which makes it harder to control. When we are done with our number 1 value in these first 2 triangles, then we move to our number 2 value in the middle and then number 3 in the corner. And we mix between them as we add our colors. So I would paint number 1 first, then number 2, and mix between them. Then I add my number 3 in the corner and mix the number 2 and number 3 together. Then I move on to another area. So since I already have some number 3 in my brush, I'm going to go ahead and mix between my number 3 and my number 4 here. Remember, when you go to blend between the 2 colors, we want to have a smooth gradient look and not a hard edge between the 2 different values. So we're going to use what we call a dry brush, where we take our brush and wipe off any extra paint, and we use it to mix between the 2 colors so that we have a smooth change in value from light to dark, creating that gradient look in each of these sections of our painting. Make sure you paint slowly, take your time, try to stay in the lines. Having clean, straight edges when we paint helps to create the optical illusion that we're going for in our painting. Rotate your paper if it makes it easier to paint areas or corners. Just remember which way is the top. You can always look at the back of it where we put our name and our arrow to start. For most of our sections, we have our colors blend right in the middle. There are 2 that are slightly different because of where they are placed. So maybe on these bottom ones here, I blend it more towards the bottom of the paper. So I do more blending this way, so I can keep that darkness along that edge, but still have it show that difference in value through there. I like the look of that. So I'm going to fix the other side so it kind of reflects that. So for this one, I think we kind of blend at an angle instead of the halfway point, blend at an angle, and that'll help us keep that edge from being too light. So I need to come back and kind of even this out, because it's nice to kind of keep these similar. So I'm just going to take and do a little bit of the number 3 right along this edge here. And kind of angle it a little bit more. You can see some of that paint was still wet, so I was able to just kind of work it right into that wet paint. So by the time you finish our day 2 sections, you should have a total of 12 areas painted on your artwork. Please keep to the sections assigned for each day. This will prevent you from having 2 sections with wet paint smearing together. So make sure that you're following the guides to help you get your sections painted correctly.